Okay, so I watched a video the other day by one of the motor vloggers I follow. I've actually watched a few videos on the subject concerning electric bikes and sort of, you know, are they any good? Are they the future? What's the ownership like? The two videos I've recently watched are one by a guy called the Infamous Biker. He's a guy I follow, and also watched one by Fully Charged, which is basically Robert Llewellyn, Crichton he might better be known as, or Mr. Scrap Heap Challenge. And like with the Infamous Bikers video, he made a few overall I kind of agree with what he said. The technology isn't there at the moment to make them viable, but I mean, a couple of the points he made, one in particular I think is a view a lot of people have, and he said that, you know, it's alright being on an electric bicycle, but when you plug it in to charge, where's the power coming from that's going to charge your vehicle? And in this country, in most cases, it's still fossil fuels, gas, oil, coal, and that's absolutely true. You know, we're heading in the right direction. I'm not going to get into the argument about nuclear power or anything like that, but you know, we have nuclear power stations, we have growing renewable energy sources, which in the part of the world that I live is wind farms. Love them or loathe them, they seem to be springing up all over the place, or just independent wind turbine, which I don't really know if that's just, you know, for a factory or a certain area, but sort of I've commuted into London a lot lately, and you see the odd sporadic turbine, like full size, big old boy, and we've got them off the coast around here and onshore as well. Anyway, so we're moving in the right direction, but we are still predominantly fossil fueled. I find that a bit of a mute argument, really. You know, you can't criticise electric bikes because of the infrastructure of the country, or cars. You know, cars, bikes, the same thing in my mind, whatever you prefer to travel on. And I really when I watched the video, I was going to look up the statistics, like, you know, how, you know, if I can get an idea of cost, or how much fossil fuel is kind of used to provide electricity to your home, as opposed to the amount that gets burnt off as opposed to the amount that gets burnt off per mile in a vehicle. And I haven't looked those stats up. I'm not even too sure how that's going to be, because maybe like how much oil it would take you to that would be burnt to drive a mile or a kilometre in an electric vehicle, as opposed to in a petrol earth destroying vehicle like this. Because I am sure it's going to be minute in comparison. So not only is it you know, an argument I hear a lot that I don't give much credence to, because of it's, you know, you can't blame electric vehicles for national infrastructure issues, or, you know, the progression of that. But it's also, it is just still, if you actually care about reducing emissions and reducing our reliance on fossil fuels, it is still so much more efficient. And I agree that you know, the vehicles out there at the moment aren't up to it. Not yet. The batteries aren't there. There's just not the mainstream manufacturers putting their effort into it. Whereas with cars, there are some of the big players are on board. I mean, you've got the new companies like Tesla doing their thing, who've actually come out because of to make electric vehicles, and you've got various other manufacturers, Nissan, I know, do the Leaf, that are sort of putting money into it. Whereas in bikes, which is understandable, bike manufacturers are comparatively small, with the exception of Honda and BMW, obviously, if you include their car arm, and same with Honda, and to a lesser degree Suzuki. So they, you know, they can't invest hundreds of millions in this. But you know, I genuinely believe in 10, 15, 20 years they will overtake petrol vehicles. To me, it's mainly the battery issue at the moment. I think they're still using lithium ion in the majority of cases, which works but isn't great. I don't know a lot about. I'm pretending to be all technological here. I'm not that aware of these stuff, but I know lithium-ion batteries are in phones, and I think this is a point the infamous biker made, that you know, you only get so many charges out your phone. The same will happen to a battery, and I guess that's true. Lithium-ion does deteriorate. But it will come down to factors like how much are they going to cost to replace a battery. If it's, you know, if you're saving shitloads in fuel, you know, X amount in fuel, and it's going to cost, you know, you might save £2,000 over a year. If it's going to cost you £200 for a new battery, it's going to be economic. If the battery, I really don't know how much these huge batteries are. I imagine they're not cheap at the moment, but like with all things, they'll get cheaper over time. And it's either that, or we need to wait for more advanced battery technology to develop, which seems to be happening all the time. I mean, people always used to say with the old Nokia phones, they used to last forever. Well, they did, but they didn't do anything. They lit a small dark screen at the back and, you know, picked up a phone signal. I'd love to know what a Nokia phone would do with a modern phone battery like the Galaxy S7 Samsung battery. If you put that in an old Nokia phone, I know you can't, but how long that would actually last? It would probably go on for a few weeks with standard usage. But yeah, I'm sort of, yeah, if I have the money, when electric bikes start becoming more mainstream, reliable, big manufacturers start making them, I'll be all over that. I love riding. I'm not a particularly huge petrol head. I've never been into cars really, except maybe as a small child. I'd like nice cars, and I've never been a massive fan of petrol engines. Yeah, they're nice and they sound nice, but you know, if you get an electric engine, you can tune that to do anything you want. You can get it to react like a petrol engine. You could make it sound the same. What the hell? I thought that was a horse-drawn carriage for a moment. It's something else I'm interested in is music and guitars and amplifiers and that. You can get modern amps. There will be some purists who say that they don't sound the same, but you can get modern amps that sound exactly the same as the old valve amps that a lot of the classic rock albums were recorded on. Purists who love the sound of records and turntables, and the exact same sound can be replicated digitally. Whether they tell you they can or can't. Most CDs aren't obviously limited in that way, because the general consensus for anyone born after the Second World War even is that the limitations on vinyl is not desirable. I think it's just a case of, you know, you grow up with things, it's easy there. And you become fond of them and you stay fond of them throughout your life, which is fair enough. Oh, nice big church. But yeah, so the other program I watched, Fully Charged, with a eco YouTube show, but mainly as far as I'm aware concerning vehicles. I'm sure he might talk about other stuff, but he actually took out, so he's never ridden a scooter before, I don't think anyway, and he took out a couple of scooters with this new It was only the importers he was talking with, but the basic, I can't remember what the company's name is. And they look pretty cool. Again, they're range limited, so they're more currently would be useful in the inner city commuting. If you live and work in London or another big city, we could. It's not for long distance. I think there was like one of the bikes did 88 miles per charge, which for a lot of people would be, you know, enough for, you know, 4, 5, 6 days commuting. Free shit. What are you doing to me, Satnav? What are you doing to me? 2.5 miles of this.